He was humanity's last survivor, a triple S rank god who took the Demon King down with him. Yet he wakes up 10 years in the past, stuck in his younger body who served as a punching bag for bullies. But this time he didn't just bring back his memories. He unlocked the gluttony system. While other heroes grind for years, he simply devours a demon boss and keeps him as his trump card. The arrogant student council thinks he's an untouchable genius with a pathetic D-rank score. But when our boy steps up, he unleashes a purgatory force so violent it literally fries the testing machine and registers a potential that the system can't even calculate. The name is Return of the Devourer, and this is just the beginning. The year is 2167 and humanity has officially reached the end of the line because the demon race has conquered every last inch of the planet. It is a total game over and our boy is the last man standing. As a triple S rank lightning assassin, he has spent the last 7 years watching several demon kings turn the world into their personal playground. One of these overgrown monsters is currently hovering over him doing a classic villain monologue and calling the human race pathetic trash. The Demon King decides it is time to turn our hero into a midday snack to power up his army. As the demon launches a red lightning attack, our boy does not just stand there like a statue. He is thinking about his sister and his master and every single person he lost to these beasts. He decides that even if it is his final act, he is dragging this monster down to hell with him. He activates a scale terminus art, and suddenly the Demon King realizes he is stuck in place. Our hero starts glowing like a neon sign, and with a final apology to his family for not being strong enough, he lets out one last blast. He kills the Demon King, who spends his final seconds being incredibly offended that a lowly human actually took him out. Just as everything fades, our boy wishes he could go back in time to fix it all. Suddenly, he wakes up in a hospital bed with a smashed-up nose and a massive headache. He looks out the window at a city that is not currently on fire and realizes he has pulled off the ultimate pro-gamer move by returning 10 years into the past. While he is processing his sudden return to 2157, a system window pops up to inform him that the power of gluttony integration is complete. This is 3 years before the actual apocalypse begins. He remembers that a demon king named Ruff was the one who originally opened the gates of hell, and if he can just delete that first boss, he can save the world. He stares at the game-like interface, wondering why he has a status window when he used to rely on nothing but raw power. In this world, only 1 in 10,000 people actually awakens, and our boy is currently stuck at a university for potential heroes. The problem is that in his original past life, he was a total loser who failed to awaken for 4 years. He was at the bottom of the food chain and basically served as a human punching bag. He checks his new stats and realizes he is still a lightning assassin, but he has actually inherited his strength and skills from the future. Before he can test out his new toys, his university roommate walks in. This four-eyed sidekick was a bottom-tier awakener who died almost immediately during the original invasion. The roommate is shocked to see our hero looking so healthy after the heavy beating he took yesterday. He even mentions that our boy seems stronger, which earns him a nostalgic smile because our hero is just happy to see a living person who is not trying to eat him. The glasses-wearing roommate reminds him that the rank test is tomorrow. As they walk through the training grounds, our boy realizes he needs to level up fast, but the government and the big guilds have a monopoly on all the monster zones. Most students are stuck at E rank, but our hero knows he is already leagues above his roommate. Their walk is rudely interrupted when a ball hits the roommate square in the face. A gang of 4 bullies shows up, led by a guy who clearly thinks he is the main character of a high school drama. The four-eyed roommate is terrified and offers to go buy them drinks just for the crime of existing near them. Our hero, however, decides that the era of being a victim is officially closed for business. He tells the roommate that he is not at fault and that these bullies are the ones who should be apologizing. The scene shifts back to a time when our boy was basically a professional floor mat for a gang of bottom-tier thugs with zero imagination. These losers thought it was the height of comedy to shove his face into the water and treat him like a literal ragdoll. While the four-eyed sidekick could only stand there vibrating in terror and begging them to stop, the lead bully just laughed it off. He claimed he was simply being a good Samaritan and helping our hero awaken his powers through a little bit of aggressive stimulation. It was a total nightmare that ended with our boy unconscious in the dirt while the bullies walked away because they got bored of their favorite toy. Our boy realizes in this moment that pure malice does not just exist in the demon layers. It is very much alive and well in the hearts of trashy humans too. Back in the present, that same budget villain is still running his mouth, but our hero has officially run out of patience for this rerun. When the bully demands to know what our boy just said, he does not even blink. He calmly informs the oversized brat that they are not the ones in the wrong and that the bullies are the ones who should be practicing their apologies. This is apparently the funniest joke the bully has ever heard. This guy is only relevant because his big brother is the student council president, and he clearly thinks that nepotism gives him a free pass to be a menace. He charges up a punch that he thinks is going to end the conversation, but our lightning lord blocks it like he is swatting a particularly annoying fly. The crowd of onlookers is absolutely losing their minds because seeing the school favorite punching bag actually stand his ground was not on anyone's bingo card for the day. The bully is fuming and calling our hero a pathetic unawakened weakling, but our boy is busy checking his system notifications like he is reading a grocery list. He flips the switch to his electric assassin job, and suddenly the air is crackling with enough energy to power a small city. The budget villain tries to save face by activating a skill called Indestructible Demon Armor, which honestly sounds a lot more impressive than it looks. It is basically the magical equivalent of putting on a cardboard box and calling yourself a tank. He jumps in for a kill shot, but our hero is already 10 steps ahead and moving like a blur. With a single punch to the face, our lightning lord sends the bully flying across the training grounds like a discarded trash bag on a windy day. The four-eyed roommate is standing there with his jaw on the floor, wondering if he accidentally walked into a completely different manhwa. The bully tries to act tough from his new home in the dirt, screaming at his lackeys to do something. But the backup dancers are too busy shaking in their boots. They can see the raw power radiating off our boy and they want absolutely no part of this beatdown. Our hero grabs the leader by the arm, tells him he is beyond pathetic, and delivers another blow that literally puts the guy through a brick wall. As the rest of the gang scrambles away like roaches when the lights turn on, our hero takes a second to analyze his performance. He realizes that even at level 1, his future self stats are more than enough to handle these E-rank nobodies who peaked in high school. However, there is one tiny problem that is bothering him. He just wiped the floor with a high-profile bully, but his experience bar has not moved a single inch. He stares down at his hand and conjures a blade made of pure, shimmering lightning. He begins to wonder if the only way to actually level up in this world is to start taking lives instead of just taking names. The look in his eyes is cold enough to freeze hell over, and the terrified onlookers are starting to realize that the school's biggest loser might actually be their new worst nightmare. It turns out that if you want to grow in this game, you might just have to get your hands a little bit bloody. Just as our lightning lord is about to permanently delete that budget villain from the server, a blonde girl with a short haircut decides to play the hero of justice. She is the vice president of the student council, and she informs him that this is a school and not a fight club. She thinks the level of punishment he dealt out is already more than enough and promises that the gang will not lay a finger on him again. She clearly thinks she is doing our boy a massive favor, but he just tosses the bully to the side like a piece of yesterday's trash. He walks away without saying a single word to her because he knows that people like this only stop when they are truly terrified. A polite request from the student council is not going to change their trashy nature. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang is hiding behind a wall and shaking because they realized our hero's expression was actually bone-chilling. Back at the dorms, the four-eyed sidekick is acting like a person hype man. He is screaming at their other roommates that the school's favorite target has finally awakened as a super-strong lightning assassin. He is bragging about how our boy rubbed the head bully into the dirt, but the other two roommates are not buying it. One of them is a nucleus mage who is way too busy flexing his own mediocre muscles, while the other is a computer nerd who thinks the sidekick's brain has turned into mush. The mage roommate is convinced that he is the only real combat class in the room, especially since our hero is currently out running laps instead of showing off his powers. He thinks he is a big deal just because he might squeeze into a school club, and he is totally unaware that the guy he is calling a weakling could probably end his entire career with a single sneeze. The scene shifts to a demon lair where the actual big fish are training. The student council president, who is the older brother of the bully our boy, just folded steps out of the zone covered in monster blood. His bandaged-up little brother is waiting there crying about how he was bullied in front of everyone and begging for a revenge tour. The president agrees to handle it, which shows that the whole family is clearly a bit of a mess. Later, over a fancy steak dinner, the blonde vice president points out that the president has a total monopoly on the school's talent. She mentions that normal students have no way to catch up to him because he controls all the access to the monster zones, which is exactly how the elites like to keep things. While the rich kids are eating expensive meat, our boy is out in the pouring rain with 100 kilograms of weight struck to his back. He knows that his physical body needs to be a temple of steel if he wants to handle the massive power from his future self. He is focused on the year 2160, which is when the demon king named Ruff is scheduled to start the apocalypse and kill his only living relative. He is determined to kill that monster before the gates of hell can even open. In the middle of his intense workout, his sister calls him. She is full of energy and talking about a competition she entered and how she is going to solve their rent problems with the prize money. Our hero is practically vibrating with emotion just hearing her voice again, especially since he watched her die in his original life. He promises her that everything is fine, but inside he is vowing to fall into the deepest pits of hell if it means keeping her safe this time around. After finishing his midnight marathon, our boy finally heads back to the dorm for a shower and some sleep. He is still worried about how he is going to level up when the big guilds control all the monster layers. But as soon as he closes his eyes, a red system window starts booting up. He does not wake up in his bed the next morning. Instead, he finds himself standing in front of a massive and terrifying tower that looks like it belongs in another dimension. It looks like the gluttony system is finally ready to show him exactly how he is going to get his revenge. He barely has time to wonder if he is sleepwalking through a demon lair before a group of bone stars decides to try and make him their afternoon snack. Our boy treats these ear-ranked trash mobs like a light warm-up exercise, deleting them effortlessly and watching his level jump straight to 2. He realizes this place is basically a private solo raid where every stop point he gains increases by 5, which is a total pro-gamer dream come true. When a boss monster tries to jump him from behind, our hero does not even break a sweat or lose his cool. He takes the beast down in one go, hitting level 3 and collecting a pile of loot that would make any treasure hunter jealous. But this is where things get truly broken. As he stares at the boss's remains, he activates the true power of gluttony. A surge of red lightning devours the monster and turns it into a card, giving our boy a permanent frost physique with cold resistance. He realizes he has basically stolen the power of a demon king for himself. While every other person on the planet is stuck with one class for life, our boy is now a walking cheat code who can possess infinite classes just by eating his enemies. It is like a buffet where the food gives you superpowers instead of a stomachache. Just as he is feeling himself, a massive wave of pressure hits him like a freight train. A hooded figure with more bandages than a mummy is chilling at the base of the tower and actually knows our hero's name. This guy is an S-rank boss and his stats are so high they are basically crushing our boy into the dirt just by existing. Even though the gap in power is wider than a canyon, the hooded weirdo keeps holding back and knocking our hero down over and over instead of finishing the job. He gives our boy a ridiculous choice: stay here and guard this demonic tower like a glorified bouncer or get crushed into a pulp. Naturally, our hero chooses violence. He analyzes the monster's movements with surgical precision and notices a tiny 0.4-second windup before every swing. He uses that opening to dodge the blade and drive his lightning blade straight through the boss's heart. The paralysis effect kicks in, giving him just enough time to activate his lightning god speed and move 10 times faster toward a nearby light source. He thinks he is making a grand escape, but as he passes through the light, it vanishes into thin air like a bad magic trick. The monster, who is apparently a high-ranking warrior from Purgatory, laughs off the attack and informs our boy that the exit was just a cruel illusion. This place is not even a demon lair. It is something much worse. The hooded figure seems more impressed than angry, noting that our boy can analyze despair and find a glimmer of hope even when he is completely outmatched. It looks like our hero did not find a training ground, he found a high-security prison, and the warden is officially a fan of his work. Our boy is realizing very quickly that getting out of here is going to take a lot more than just a flashy exit strategy. Our boy is having a massive realization while staring at the monster in front of him. He remembers the final battle from his past life and realizes that the demon king he fought used to switch between different high-rank forms like he was changing outfits for a photo shoot. It turns out this bandaged warrior was one of those forms, which means the power of gluttony has basically turned our hero's own body into a high-security storage unit for demonic souls. This Purgatory boss is actually surprisingly sharp and realizes that our hero is the only one who can handle the power of the tower without losing his mind. The monster decides to hand over the literal keys to the kingdom, or in this case, a triple S rank key to the demonic tower. He explains that he is actually a traitor to the demon cause because the demon king slaughtered his entire race just to satisfy their own greed. He tells our lightning lord to devour every single demon sealed inside the tower and use them as fuel to reach the very peak of the world. Our boy accepts the power, which instantly catapults him to level 10 and grants him a set of dual swords and a high-tier Star Warrior card. He vows to carry on the monster's will, which is a pretty intense promise to make before he has even had his morning coffee. He wakes up in his dorm room thinking the whole thing might have been a fever dream until he checks his system window and sees his level 10 stat staring back at him. His wounds are gone, his loot is in his inventory, and he's officially ready to stop playing nice. Of course, the moment is ruined by his nucleus-made roommate, who is back at it again with the ego tripping. This guy is acting like a total diva because he is a middle ear rank, which he thinks is a massive flex. He lectures our hero about how the gap between rank tiers is massive, and claims he could take on 10 low rankers at once. It is honestly embarrassing to watch someone be that proud of being slightly less mediocre than everyone else in the room. The group heads over to the university for the official rank test ceremony, and the atmosphere is thick with nerves and bad cologne. The smug roommate is still running his mouth until the gang of bullies from yesterday makes a guest appearance. The roommate tries to hide, but as soon as the bullies spot our hero, they do not start a fight. Instead, they literally bow down to the pavement and shout that their big brother has arrived. The smug roommate looks like his brain has just suffered a critical error, completely unable to understand why the school's favorite punching bag is suddenly being treated like a legendary mob boss. Just as the roommates are starting to suspect our boy might actually be a big deal, a new budget villain enters the chat. This guy is a student council officer and basically the president's personal laptop. He is a D-rank powerhouse who thinks he is a professional tracker because he claims he can smell malice. He walks right up to our hero and tells him that he smells like a permanent bottom feeder who has no right to be in the same room as the elites. Our boy just stands there looking bored because after facing down an S-rank purgatory warrior, a student council officer with a power complex is not exactly a threat to his safety. He is just waiting for the moment he can finally show these amateurs what a real monster looks like. Our boy is standing his ground when the student council officer decides to try and play the intimidation game. This guy is basically the president's personal lapdog, and he claims he can smell the scent of a permanent bottom feeder coming off our hero. Instead of being intimidated, our lightning lord just looks him in the eye and asks if he is actually a dog since he is so obsessed with sniffing other people. The lapdog is about to lose his mind and throw a punch, but the student council president himself steps in to play the role of the mature leader. He admits that his little brother was the one in the wrong and tells his lapdog to stand down, though he still gives our hero a look that says he does not consider him a threat at all. The golden boy thinks our hero is just a lucky commoner who got a few good hits in, and he definitely does not think they are on the same level. The testing ceremony officially kicks off, and the big shots are watching from a high-floor building like they are overlooking their kingdom. The blonde vice president is there with the university principal, and while everyone else is focused on the elites, she admits she is actually waiting to see what our boy can do. The test involves a specially made demon heart that absorbs an awakener's energy and turns it into data for everyone to see. It is basically a high-tech way of showing everyone exactly how mediocre they really are compared to the top-tier talent. The first one up from the dorm is the nucleus-made roommate who was flexing his muscles and talking big just yesterday. He was convinced he was a powerhouse, but the machine reveals he is still stuck at a mid-tier rank. He looks like he wants to cry because his dream of being a top-tier student just went up in smoke right in front of the whole school. The rest of the roommates do not fare much better as they all clock in with bottom-tier potential that basically guarantees they will be background characters for the rest of the story. The mood shifts when the actual talents start appearing. The president's lapdog managed to hit a low-tier D rank, which earns him plenty of cheers from the crowd. But the real main event is the student council president. He is the heir to a massive guild, and he decides to hold back just a little bit of his power to save the real show for graduation. Even while holding back, he smashes the school record by hitting a high-tier D rank with S-rank potential. The crowd goes absolutely wild, and the professors are already planning to report him to the state as a national treasure. It is basically a one-man parade, and the golden boy is soaking up every bit of the attention. Just as the hype for the president reaches a fever pitch, the announcer calls the next student to the stage. It is finally time for our boy to show everyone that a lightning assassin from the future does not play by the same rules as these schoolyard elites. The blonde vice president is leaning in to watch, and the principal is shocked she's interested in a nobody. The rest of the school is about to find out that the bottom feeder they have been mocking is about to break their precious machine and ruin their perfect little hierarchy. Our boy walks up to the heart, and the air feels like it is about to catch fire. As our lightning lord prepares to take his turn at the test, the president's personal lapdog decides to bark one last time. He tells our boy to at least try to bring a tiny bit of honor to his loser-filled dorm and begs him not to show up with another embarrassing earring result. He laughs about how a room full of bottom-tier trash is the ultimate joke of the university and claims that even showing up to the graduation assessment would be a total disgrace for someone of his pathetic status. The four-eyed sidekick is not having any of it and shouts that our hero is about to blow their narrow little minds wide open. He is basically our boy's biggest fan at this point, even if he does not fully understand the monster he is cheering for. Our boy steps into the testing chamber where a giant, pulsating demon heart is waiting to judge his worth. This machine is supposed to be the ultimate authority on power, but the moment our hero looks at it with those glowing red eyes, the heart looks like it wants to file for early retirement. He knows that in this era, the only path to a real future is joining a top-tier guild, and the graduation assessment is the only stage that matters. The first place team gets a direct ticket to the Imperial Guild, which is basically the elite club for the 1% of Awakeners. While he is inside the chamber, the Golden Boy president is outside scouting for his dream team of deer ranks, fully convinced that the graduation trophy already has his name engraved on it. He is acting like he has already won the lottery before even buying a ticket. Back in the testing booth, our hero decides it is time to give the machine a reason to panic. He starts by activating his base level 10 form, and the machine immediately registers a high D rank. The crowd outside is stunned, and the silence is so thick you could cut it with a knife. But our boy is just getting warmed up and has no intention of stopping there. He switches to his Infernal Death King class, and the rank suddenly jumps to a mid-C. The machine starts having a literal meltdown, sparks flying everywhere, as it tries to process a level of power it was never designed to handle. The professors are scratching their heads and wondering if the system is caught in a massive glitch, or if the apocalypse started early. Then our Lightning Lord decides to stop playing around and switches to his full purgatory form. A massive, terrifying vortex literally forms in the sky outside the building, making everyone in the courtyard think the world is ending right then and there. The system starts screaming about a triple S potential that is way beyond its maximum load before the demon heart literally burns out and dies from the sheer pressure of his presence. The professors rush in and find the machine fried to a crisp, but of course, they assume it just suffered from a sudden case of being old and overworked. They simply cannot wrap their tiny brains around the fact that a student just broke their most expensive toy. But our hero is the one who gets the last laugh. He uses his gluttony power to secretly devour the dead demon heart, gaining a new skill that lets him see the real power levels of everyone around him like he has X-ray vision for talent. He steps outside and scans the school's golden boy, only to realize that the president is actually a mid-tier rank who has been hiding his own power all along to look like a humble genius. To our hero, the top student in the school is mediocre at best and barely worth a second glance. The lapdog tries to blame our boy for breaking the machine and wasting everyone's afternoon, acting like our hero personally attacked his sense of schedule. He is shouting about compensation and responsibility, but our hero is 1 second away from permanently silencing him with a lightning bolt to the face. Just as the air starts to crackle, the president steps in and does something nobody expected. He stops his lackey and actually asks our hero to join his elite squad for the graduation exam. He says he wants the highest score in history and thinks he is doing our boy a favor, but he has no idea he just invited a literal shark into his very small and very pathetic pond. The Golden Boy president actually has the audacity to personally invite our hero to join his elite squad for the graduation assessment. The rest of the students are watching with their jaws on the floor while the lapdog is sweating bullets because he knows that if our boy joins, someone is getting the boot. The lapdog is clearly frustrated but tries to act like he is doing our boy a favor by welcoming him to the team. His fake welcome is cut short when our Lightning Lord just stares at him with zero interest and moves the lapdog's hand off his shoulder like it is a piece of unwanted lint. Our hero tells the Golden Boy that he is simply not interested, which leaves the entire courtyard in a state of absolute shock. When the lapdog tries to scream about how their team is number one in the school, our hero just calls him noisy and tells them both to never bother him again before walking away like a total boss. Up on the roof, the blonde vice president and the principal are watching this drama unfold like it is their favorite reality show. The old man is a bit disappointed that the two powerhouses are not teaming up, but the vice president knows that this rejection is basically a naked declaration of war. Back on the ground, the Golden Boy is trying to act like a humble leader with a fake smile, but he is secretly fuming inside. He admits that even if there is only a tiny chance the test was right, he cannot let anyone threaten his first place throne. He tells his lapdog that whatever lessons he decides to teach our hero have nothing to do with him, which is basically the universal villain code for giving the green light to an ambush. The lapdog is absolutely giddy when he finds out our hero left school early to head home. He thinks he is catching our boy at a weak moment, but our hero is busy walking through the streets and planning the ultimate raid. He remembers that in his past life a top-tier guild got wiped out at a specific demon lair, which is exactly how the Demon King managed to descend and destroy the world. Our boy knows exactly where that first boss is hiding, but he needs a massive mountain of cash to get his counterattack started. He stops at a monster exchange to sell some loot, but the shop owner is a total jerk who thinks our boy is just some poor student wasting his precious time. The owner is so arrogant that he hands our hero off to a pink-haired newbie just to get him out of his sight. Our boy manages to secure 18,000 for some low-grade items, which is just enough to handle his rent problems for now. Then he decides to drop a nuclear bomb on the conversation by pulling out his massive S-rank purgatory swords. The arrogant seller starts laughing and claiming he has worked there for years and has never even seen a single A-rank weapon, let alone anything from a high-tier dungeon. Suddenly, the big boss of the shop appears with green hair and nearly has a heart attack when he sees the quality of the blades. He immediately shuts the arrogant seller up and reveals that these are not just some high-grade junk but actual S-rank purgatory equipment. The atmosphere in the shop shifts instantly as the manager treats our hero like royalty and invites him straight to the VIP room for some serious business. Our hero just smirks to himself because his plan to lure out the big fish is working perfectly. The arrogant shopkeeper is left standing there looking like a complete idiot while our boy prepares to make more money in one afternoon than that guy will see in a lifetime. Our lightning lord steps into the VIP room of the Monster Exchange with the kind of confidence that says he already owns the deed to the building. The green-haired manager and the pink-haired employee are practically tripping over their own feet to make him comfortable. The manager asks how much our hero wants for the legendary weapon, and our boy coolly asks for a $1 million loan. The manager almost has a physical meltdown right there in his expensive chair. He has to explain to our hero that an S-rank weapon is worth tens of millions, and could cause a literal stampede of desperate hunters if it ever hit the open market. He is looking at our boy like he is either a runaway prince or a complete lunatic for lowballing himself. But our hero is playing the long game and has no intention of actually parting with his gear. He explains that he just wants to use the sword as collateral for a quick loan and promises to pay it back in 1 month with 10% interest. The manager is a sharp businessman and realizes he is dealing with a total prodigy. He correctly guesses that our boy is planning to use the prize money from the graduation exam to settle the debt. Instead of being a greedy corporate shark, the manager offers an even better deal. He gives our hero $1.5 million in cash on the spot with absolutely zero interest. He is basically buying a front row seat to our hero's future career, proving he is much smarter than the arrogant shopkeeper who tried to kick our boy out earlier. Before he walks out the door, our hero decides to drop one final flex that leaves the room in total silence. He reveals that he actually has a second S-rank sword tucked away that is identical to the first one. The manager looks like he is about to pass out because he realizes he is standing in the presence of a literal monster in human form. Meanwhile, the pink-haired employee gets an immediate promotion to supervisor just for having enough brain cells to treat our hero with basic respect. The arrogant shopkeeper who mocked our boy earlier is left crying in a corner over his lost commission, while our hero walks out with a bank account that is officially overflowing with cash. Our hero takes a taxi to the bus terminal, looking out the window and thinking back to the tragedy of his original timeline. He remembers how his sister had to abandon her dreams of art school because they were too poor to even keep the lights on. He is determined to make sure she never has to choose between her passion and a meal ever again. When the little drama queen finally steps off the bus, she is exactly as loud and energetic as he remembers. She immediately starts roasting him for standing at the entrance instead of the exit and starts complaining about how they are broke again after paying this month's rent. She has absolutely no idea that her brother is now a high-ranking assassin with enough money to buy the entire apartment complex. Our hero is so overwhelmed with emotion at seeing her alive that he pulls her into a massive and bone-crushing hug. She finds the whole thing incredibly weird and asks if he finally got rejected by a girl or if he has actually lost his mind. He does not care how much she teases him because he is just happy to see her breathing and healthy. As they head home together, our hero makes a silent vow to fall into the deepest pits of hell if it means keeping her safe from the apocalypse he has already seen. However, the heartwarming family reunion is about to be rudely interrupted by some budget villains. The student council lapdog and his gang of thugs are currently hiding in the shadows of a dark alleyway like a bunch of persistent roaches. They are waiting to ambush our boy on his way home to teach him a lesson about hierarchy. They are acting like they have the upper hand, but they are completely oblivious to the fact that they are about to bring a toothpick to a lightning fight. Our boy is about to show them that his sense of malice is a lot sharper than theirs. The student council's favorite lapdog is currently lurking in a dark alley with a group of thugs who clearly have too much free time and not enough brain cells. He is fuming because our boy had the audacity to exist and be stronger than him during the test. The plan is to beat our hero so badly that he cannot even make it to the graduation exam in 2 weeks. This guy thinks he is a top-tier assassin because he has a fancy title, but he is mostly just a top-tier annoyance with a knife he does not know how to use. He is literally shaking with jealousy over a guy he still tries to call a bottom feeder, which is peak delusional behavior if you ask me. Meanwhile, our hero is walking home with his savage little sister, who is busy giving him a life lesson on not being so emotional. She thinks he is just stressed about the exam and tells him to pull himself together like a real man. She has absolutely no clue that her big brother is now a walking natural disaster who could level the entire neighborhood if he felt like it. She even jokes that he is getting old and starting his midlife crisis early because he is being so sentimental and weirdly nice to her. Our boy just smiles through the roasting because he knows she is just trying to be supportive in her own aggressive, sisterly way. The thugs spot our girl and decide that an alley with no cameras is the perfect place for a crime. They think they are being sneaky, but our lightning lord smells their trashy intentions from a mile away. Instead of letting his sister see the garbage being taken out, he pulls the ultimate big brother move and puts his earphones on her. He tells her to listen to a specific song on repeat while he takes care of a little business. She is confused but decides to vibe to the music, totally unaware of the carnage that is about to happen literally 2 inches behind her back. While the savage little sister is listening to a song about stars and fate, our boy is busy ending the careers of these budget villains. He is genuinely offended that they decided to ruin his first family reunion in 7 years. He starts handing out free dental appointments with his fists, treating the gang like literal bugs that need to be squashed into the pavement. The music continues to echo in our girl's ears while her brother is cracking skulls in the shadows and protecting her like she is the most precious thing in the world. He is moving so fast that the thugs probably think they are being hit by a localized thunderstorm. The lapdog finally realizes he is in way over his head and tries one last desperate attack, claiming he is the strongest assassin in the school. It goes exactly as well as you would expect, which is to say it is a complete disaster. Our hero punches him square in the face twice, sending his teeth on a solo vacation and breaking his spirit along with his jaw. He towers over the broken budget villain with a terrifying death glare, asking if he was speaking a foreign language when he told them to never bother him again. It turns out that when a lightning assassin tells you to stay away, you should probably listen if you want to keep your face in one piece. Our boy is officially done playing games with these schoolyard bullies, and he is ready to take his sister home for a peaceful dinner. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. I really enjoyed reading this one, and I hope I did the story justice for you guys. If you also did, please smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next hidden gem. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.